Hey everyone, it's Yaroslav and Philosophy Man YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about new animation show called Cyberpunk 2077 Edgerunners. Cyberpunk 2077 is originally a board game that was adapted into a computer game few years ago by CD Projekt Red, Polish computer game company. CD Projekt Red is a famous company. It developed Witcher 3 in 2015, which is considered to be probably one of the best RPG games for the whole history of computer games. It was a huge success, and the next game, which was Cyberpunk 2077, was hit before the actual production, but in a sense it failed. There were a few scandals concerning the technical part of the game. It was very buggy, glitchy, and it is a great game, but it is not as great as The Witcher 3. And someone even speculated that CD Projekt Red experienced a major downfall with this game. However, they continue to develop the metaverse of this game, and they put money into producing a series of animation. It has only one season for now. I didn't watch it entirely, but I watched enough to have something to say about it. Well, I do not play computer games because I'm too old, I guess. I'm 30 years old, and when I start to grind or farm in the computer game, I just catch myself on the thought, what am I doing with my life? And I'm not 15 years old anymore, so it is not very interesting for me even to take part in a virtual shootout or something. So the only thing I miss and the only thing I'm interested in computer games is the plot and sometimes art and atmosphere. And everything, all these things you can get while watching the so-called game films on the YouTube, when some guy is just showing the game without any grind. However, the story of the original game is quite interesting. It tells the story of a mercenary V who has to make choices concerning the future of the Night City, the giant megapolis, which is at center of the plot of the game. And Cyberpunk 2077 Edgerunners is sort of a spin-off. It tells a story of a newly initiated Edgerunner, David Martinez. You cannot meet him in the game. We does not meet him in the game, but there is an Easter egg connected to that guy. Okay, so Martinez is 17 years old teenager who is attending an elite Arasaka unit academy, but he is of simple descendants. His mother is a doctor, and he suffers from bullying in the school because of his lacking funds and new technical updates. Cyberpunk 2077 is a franchise that explores the world of the cyberpunk. I have one video in Russian among my old videos on the channel that explores the social criticism in cyberpunk novels and films and applies it to the Ukrainian reality. So cyberpunk is characterized as a genre by using so-called implants, neural and other organs. Implants are technical devices that enhance your physical abilities. The classics of cyberpunks usually explores the lives of hackers and mercenaries and all the scum of the earth which tries to survive in the harsh environment of dystopian city where only big money and muscle rule. It is precisely the thing with the Cyberpunk 2077. It is really dystopian. It is about capitalism, about taking revenue from everything, including the morality, and it is about the abundance of morality. And Edgerunners, the show, follows this concept. Edgerunners, from a technical side, is a very advanced show. It has a great animation, a great soundtrack, and it is interesting to see the battle scenes. However, I catch myself on the thought again that I'm bored while watching this show. It is not stupid, it doesn't have big flaws, but it just follows a very simple schema. The so-called hero's monomyth. I've been talking on this channel for quite a while. The greatest examples of hero monomyth in classical culture is the Greek myth about Hercules. So he is a son of God who is sort of exiled from the very early years. He is a rogue in his own society, human society, and he is a rogue in the God society. And his story tells the story of a rogue who is trying to earn his place among the gods by fulfilling almost impossible tasks. The same goes for Martinez. He is a rogue at the Arasaka so-called top floor pupils, and he later, because of the tragic incidents, loses his, what can say, mortal family, his mother, and is economically forced to join the gang. He starts doing jobs for the gang, and he has become more enlightened into the gloomy, violent part of the life. So he is introduced to the so-called gods of this world, gangsters. And the plot follows the schema of the initiation. So he slowly trains his body and mind and becomes more experienced criminal and so on. The plot is interesting. This kind of plot is interesting only for very young and naive people. If you're old enough and you lived in the third world place, you probably saw similar plots, as to say, stories in your real life. Well, people were expelled from the more or less mainstream society and quickly joined some kind of a criminal structure and quickly degraded because of drug use, alcohol use, and a social life. And if you are more from a developed world, you probably saw semi-stories like this, when people were promised to get a high revenue, for example, by joining some edgy business, and quickly degraded from in the morals and professional sense. So the moral of the story, the subplot or the behind the scenes plot of such stories, is that actually there is no way to join the gods. There is just no career stairs to that place, and you shouldn't do those impossible tasks. It's just waste of time and talent. As for the Martinez story, I do not know the end of it because I did not read spoilers, but I presume it is very tragic. And because it follows such a simple plot, another great example of that plot is classical Star Wars, Luke Skywalker. He is also an outcast who seeks to join the gods, who finds out the truth that it is not so easy to understand the roles of those gods. I talked about it in my Star Wars video recently, and so on. So it is just the mainstream in culture, heroic monomyth, Hercules type. So my verdict about the show is that it is advanced in the technical sense, but lacking in the sense of the spiritual part of the story. So it is moderately interesting if you are interested in animation as a professional, or if you are very young and you do not have the great experience of popular culture. If you have certain experience in popular culture, you will be bored from the show as I am. Thank you for your attention. Hope you liked my content. See you.